All right, everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be talking about all the crazy news that we got with, related to Pirate King Hondo. We got information on the bonus drops, Captain Silvo's coming, so we've got a lot of stuff just kind of hitting the game all at once. This happened yesterday, and of course, I was working from the office, so did not get a chance to talk about any of it, but with this stuff, we've got to, I want to break it down for you, particularly looking at the impact of the bonus drops, kind of preparing for them, give you an early insight into some of the people from across the globe who are already experiencing these bonus drops and kind of what that means for you as a player. And then also even something kind of scary with Captain Silvo. Got a lot to talk about, guys. So first and foremost, please like, subscribe, comment down below. Let's give a huge shout out to our channel members, as always, for their continued support. If you guys are ever interested, that link is down below, along with a link to Discord server. Go check it out. Really appreciate all you folks just believing in me, keeping the faith through good, bad, thick, thin, whatever the case. You guys are the best, and I couldn't do it without you. Seriously, it means the world to me to be able to create content for a game that we all love and get to interact with you guys on a daily basis. So I really do appreciate it. Thank you again. Let's get in here. Let's talk about some news we got, particularly surrounding bonus drops, Captain Silvo, Hondo stuff, and a whole lot more. All right, folks. So the big thing that we got was in our newsletter. There is double and triple drops for all battles on 920 and 921. To claim this bounty, you'll need the one and the only Pirate King Hondo Ohnaka unlocked and ready. So, I read this and I couldn't believe it. Because the amount of players who will have Hondo on those days is a small subset of the player base. The smallest subset of the player base will have Hondo. And the players who have him, most of them are not going to benefit from double drops and triple drops. Most of them will not, right? Most of them will not be crazily impacted by double and triple drops. So in my opinion, this just kind of feels like it just feels stupid. Like it's to me, this was in my opinion, this is a bonehead move by Capital Games. It reminds me of something AP Gaines once said. He said, CG is too good at making money, and because they're too good at making money, they end up losing out on money. And I think this is a prime example. This is a really good idea. Hey, let's reward people for Hondo. But instead of really rewarding those people who have Hondo, you're just pissing off all the people who don't. And even players who spend a decent bit of money might not have Hondo by those days. So this just does feel a little bit like a slap in the face to a lot of the player base. I'm not going to say that you should be screaming and grabbing a pitchfork, because at the end of the day, you get Hondo, you should get rewarded for it. I'm not saying that. I just feel like it's optically really bad for them, because a large portion of the player base is not going to have him, and that portion is the one that would really benefit from double and triple drops rather than the people who have him already. So, again, this is kind of one of those missed opportunities where, what's the harm in giving us double and triple drops during that time and allowing them, if they have Hondo, to get droid brains or something, just give them an advantage, but throw us a bone, right? Particularly those players in the early game who just do not have a chance at all, right? Next, we finally got news on the bonus drops for having the new pirates Brutus, Kix, Itano, and Quiggled at Relic 3. This is where I would be a lot more up in arms comparative to this one. So this is announced now, and it's going active at the time of recording tomorrow. As you guys might have noticed, I am hoarding already. On Cantina battles, you're going to get impulse detectors. On the light side battles, you're going to get incomplete signal data, which is the green. You're going to get bronzium wiring on dark side and flawed signal data in fleet battles. And that's going to be for 3 days. I would be far more upset with these drops than I would this. Because this is, again, you'd say, oh, well, I'm going to be able to maybe participate in this. But for the people who can't do this, the advantage here is far greater. Like, dropping impulse detectors in Cantina battles, are you kidding me? Like, just, that is a crazy, crazy thing. Again, we've had, signal data before. I don't know if we've had bronzium wiring drop, but we definitely have had signal data drops before. And what I wanted to share was some pictures here. And I've got the screen capture pulled up from my Discord to shout out Shitstorm here. He shared these in the members only section. So here was 46 fleet battles that somebody did, and they only got 5, which that is, kind of an abysmal drop rate. They get 100 battles on dark side, and they got 6 bronzium wiring, that is shocking. That is shocking. But they did 36 battles in the Cantina, and they got 9 impulse detectors. And I really want to pay attention here, because I think the impulse detector drop rate, if it's anything like this, now this could be really, really good, but just for perspective of how, just how little of impulse detectors you legitimately need to make this worth it. Just, again, just for the sake of argument here. If we go over here into the game, right? An impulse detector is worth 180 crystals. And again, if we just go to our weekly shipments, we go down to impulse detectors, you can see they're worth 180 crystals, right? 10 of them is 1800, it's 180 crystals. If you do a Cantina refresh, if you spend, your crystals, if you get 1 impulse detector, you've already, you got all the signal data plus that 1 impulse detector. So you don't need a massive drop rate on these things to make it worthwhile to do your 200 refreshes in the Cantina. I 100% will tell you that is not a bad idea, is to try and maximize these drops, especially because getting impulse detectors for 3 days could be huge for a lot of accounts. So I do not hate that at all. I will be really spamming my crystals to try and get that done, because that is a huge, huge help to the player base. And of course, it's coming right when we have to start preparing to get Captain Silvo as well. So we're all going to be crying for crystals by the end of this. But I think that's a really good help for players. If you are able to get those pirates, which for some players, they're not. I'm fortunate enough through buying the episode pass and the way I interact with these marquees, I get them to 5-star. But if you can't, this is a huge opportunity that you're missing out on. Personally, if I'm you and you're like, hey, Phil, I don't want to miss out on this, I think I could capitalize, is it worth spending crystals? The way you'd have to frame this up is, how far away are you from a character like Brutus? Or how far away are you from one of these characters? And then kind of doing some mental gymnastics on the drop rates. Personally, if you're more than, say, 2,000-3,000 crystals away, I don't know that you could make up the drops back. But I think if I'm a player and I'm missing out on those bonus drops, right, the ones in the newsletter here, I think I'm far more upset missing these than I am this. Because far more players will be able to benefit from this than this. And the players benefiting here are the ones that you're more likely to encounter. So, again, really good if you have these guys. And if you don't, this is, I'm not going to lie, this is pretty devastating. And it's not just you need them at 5-star. You need them at Relic 3 even. So that could even alienate players who maybe have the shards, right? Like I do with Vayne. Now, I could Relic him. I just haven't yet. But just for the argument, right? Hey, I could do, I can make Vayne Relic tomorrow, but I don't need to. But what if I couldn't? Now I'm missing out if that was somebody like Brutus or Etano or Quiggle, whoever it is. So, again, I think from that perspective, bonus drops kind of, there it is. We now know Captain Silvo's coming, and, that's his kit is in game. And the big thing here, again, is you kind of get this idea that Pirate King Hondo is coming before the end of September. So before the end of Q3, Hondo will be in game, and then we will hopefully finally find out what the hell Smuggler's Run 3 is, and what those rewards can look like. Because I know that is something that a lot of players are looking to potentially get. Continuing on with Pirate King Hondo, we did get his last set of requirements. It is Captain Silvo at Relic 7, Dooku at Relic 8, Bosk at Relic 8, and Ray's Millennium Falcon at 7-star. Realistically, I don't hate any of the Silvo, Brutus, and Vayne, I love that they're Relic 7 requirements. Those are the characters you're going to be using with Hondo. So I love that. Let me put the relics on them. You know, obviously I wish they were like the Relic 9s or the Relic 8s, but hey, you know, to each their own. Taking them to Relic 7, that's a thumbs up from me. Good job, CG. I like this a lot. He's definitely not cheap. You're looking at 3 Relic 8s for Hondo in Scavenger Ray, Count Dooku, and Bosk. 3 Relic 9s in Kenobi, General Skywalker, and OG Hondo. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 Relic 7s. And then, right, yeah, 4 Relic 7s, 2 Relic 5s, 2 Relic 6s, and a Relic 3. He definitely ain't cheap. But I don't hate a lot of the requirements because, like, Kenobi and General Skywalker to Relic 9, you have them Relic 8 already. So while it does bite, it's not like it's characters you didn't have before at all. Like Hondo to Relic 9, that sucked. But Kenobi and General Skywalker, whatever. Scavenger Ray, she's not a great character, but you already have a Relic 7 from Galactic Legend Ray. Sharut, honestly, I don't hate this at all. That's a good character to have at Relic 5 to use with Saw Gerrera. Bosk at Relic 8, again, I don't hate that. He's a good pilot. That's going to help your Executor fleet. Count Dooku is a Relic 8 requirement for General Skywalker. So the ones that really suck here is like Hondo, Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca, and Ezra. The rest of these are not bad, even if it's a Relic 8 or a Relic 9. It's on characters you've already invested resources into or can, you know, use those resources to offset something else. So again, as it definitely isn't super free-to-play friendly with the Relic 8s and 9s, but at least they're on characters where there's, outside of Hondo, 5 of those characters already had some level of significant investment and will overlap with other farms. So I don't hate this. And even Ezra Bridger, to be fair, he's a Relic 5 requirement for Ahsoka, and even, you know, Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca, again, requirement for Rey, and Hondo's a requirement for Afra. So they did give us a lot of overlap here, which, again, I'm not going to hate on. So I can't be super harsh on it. Is it super easy to get? Absolutely not. But they could be a lot worse. Absolutely could be a lot worse. No Ugnaught to Relic 9 does make me a little bit sad. Not going to lie. Now, the final thing I want to talk about, guys, is something that I was also sent in my, the Discord, and that is the gear for Captain Silvo. So this is on swago.gg, and if you look at his gear 12, you have a Mark 12 armor tech tool, a Mark 12 armor plating, a fusion furnace, a data pad, a stun gun, and then his injector cell. Most of you probably notice it right away, but those of you who don't, that is 3 of those hard to get pieces. The data pad, the stun gun, and the furnace, those are all pieces that if we flip back over to the game really quick, those are the pieces that we're used to seeing. You think Gear 12 is kind of split into, you know, your Gear 13 stuff. It's split onto 2 sides. You've got like the annoying stuff over here, and then you have the easier stuff over here. Right, so here's Vayne, and again, you see that, like, the bayonet, you know, this piece, right, they go over here, and then the furnace goes over here. Well, on Silvo, going back to swago.gg, you're having to equip 3 of those pieces that normally you'd only have to equip 2 of. Now, this could just be a mistake, but if this is something moving forward that we're going to have to deal with, that is not cool. That is not going to be fun, and this could really change the dynamic of how you have to farm gear, particularly because they take a lot of those resources that you're already using, like the med packs. You know, you've got some of the core gear elements, but like the fusion furnaces, like these already, you need so many of. This, if it's not a mistake, could definitely change the game. And again, just to show you Vayne as an example, I showed you in game. Notice how it's 3 of those less, takes a lot less gear to create these pieces comparative to these pieces for Vayne. So this is absolutely something that we should be keeping an eye on. That is absolutely something to keep an eye on. We'll be very curious what it looks like for Galactic Legend Hondo, as he will be the next character that we should be getting their gear for. If he's like this, that is a huge change that we're going to really need to understand the dynamic and how that fits into the game. This, to me, is arguably what I'd be most up in arms about because of the implications of raid currency and how Order 66 again has been perceived, and this could be huge. I'm not gonna lie, this to me is, I think, the scariest thing that I've seen in a while, because much of my gear farming can be contingent around the fact that I can get enough of that stuff without having to go crazy in fleet battles. If I have to start going crazy again, that's going to hamper other areas of the game that we would have to be, considering. So wanted to at least bring this up, wanted to share that with you folks. Let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. How are you perceiving these bonus drops? Are we really upset? Like I said, I honestly would be more pissed off about missing these because I'm missing the Relic 3s on the 5-star characters than I am this, right? Because of the player base who's missing out here. This is such a small portion. This I would be far more upset about missing out on. And again, especially with what I shared in the Discord from Shitstorm, where that impulse detector drop rate looked really, really nice. And again, I want to share that one more time. If you are debating one of those, I'll tell you what, if this is the case, if this is the level that we're getting, man, I'm going to be going nuts trying to get as many impulse detectors as I can, because that's less raid currency that I can spend on them and more that I can spend on Electriums and Zimbados, which are starting to dwindle very, very quickly because of how many friggin' relics we have to do for these guys. You can definitely feel the game ramping up. So, with that said, folks, let me know your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the force be with you. And as this is the official start of the NFL season tonight, I owe you all a very heartfelt Go Birds, Cowboys suck. See you guys in the next video. Cheers, my friends.